They bring levity to a difficult situation. Laughter helps us to cope better, but they also convey the serious message of the value of healthy diets. The priority focus areas set out in the Agricultural Policy Framework and Strategy 2016-2021 include the enhancement of national food and nutrition security, as well as agricultural diversification and reduction of the food import bill. The value of these priorities has been thrown into sharp relief over the past months, with reductions in trade flows as countries close their borders to reduce COVID-19 transmission. My government intends to continue to emphasize these areas, together with the resuscitation of the banana industry and building resilience to climate change and disaster risk reduction. The Plant Protection Act will be revised to prevent and control the entry of pests into St. Lucia, adhere to the International Plant Protection Convention, and facilitate trade in plants and plant products. Tourism. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the current shutdown of the tourism industry as a consequence of the coronavirus pandemic, St. Lucia's tourism sector has performed admirably over the past years. And as we look to the future, my government intends to implement the National Tourism Strategy and Action Plan, which charts a practical and sustainable course for the development of the tourism sector for the 2019-2023 period. Tourism initiatives will improve governance and provide a platform to spread the economic benefits of tourism to an increased number of local communities. It is our firm conviction that the institutional architecture for tourism must be transformed in order to maximize the sector's contribution to national development. To this end, the functions of the Tourism Authority have been streamlined and the role of the Ministry of Tourism redefined and limited to matters which include administration, policy formulation, licensing, and certification. My government will, in the coming year, enact legislation to provide for a state-owned company to administer village tourism in St. Lucia and to govern the St. Lucia Tourism Council. The entity which will spearhead such areas as advocacy, policy identification, research, and product development. The Tourism Incentives Act is to be revised and its scope broadened to ensure that it is applicable to new niche tourism segments, reflects international best practice, and creates a more favorable investment climate. Inclusive education. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, my government believes that inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning are the most assured pathway to attaining one's full human potential. We must, therefore, remain steadfast in transforming the education system so that it reflects the demands of today's technologically advanced world and services, ultimately to enhance the well-being of every citizen. With this in mind, my government intends to promote the project for integration of information and technology in education, which involves smart classrooms initiatives, the continuation of digital literacy programs, and the introduction of electronic books. As we endeavor to reach all citizens and to ensure no child is left behind, my government will continue the education quality improvement project EQUIP and the CARE program, ensuring that adequate support is available to those with special needs. In addition, our technical and vocational education and training TVET program will be bolstered by certain key projects designed to improve responsiveness to changing labor market conditions, integrate safety nets with skills acquisition strategies, specifically target disadvantaged youth, and better protect the poor and vulnerable from aftershocks and crises in the context of climate change impacts. Enhancing security and justice. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, as my government seeks to secure the health and well-being of our nation, we are not blind to the fact that criminal activity does not lend itself to quarantine or isolation, nor is it easily daunted by national borders. Consequently, in the upcoming year, my government will intensify efforts to reduce serious crime through the full implementation of the Safe City Closed-Circuit Television Initiative and continued implementation of the community policing strategy. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force will be restructured to improve efficiency and efficacy. Further, given the vital role of forensic evidence in solving crime, the plan to transform forensic services in St. Lucia by 2022 will continue, with specific focus on the enactment of the Criminal Investigations Deoxyribonucleic acid DNA bill, which will provide for DNA analysis and testing in the investigation and prosecution of offenses. Further, it is imperative that we protect our borders even while participating fully in the international arena. In this regard, the St. Lucia Border Control Agency will be created, comprising customs and excise, immigration, the police, marine unit, and quarantine functions. The St. Lucia Border Control Agency Act will establish the agency and set out related governance arrangements. A modern border management system, which will be an integral element of the agency's operations, will permit a more efficient flow of people and goods while enhancing risk assessment and border control. Ensuring equity. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, if all St. Lucians are to act together, then the differently abled must be integrated fully in our national programs. St. Lucia signed on to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in September 2011. This treaty seeks to protect equal inalienable rights of persons with disabilities. Having established the National Commission for Human Rights in 2019, my government will now enact laws consistent with the Convention, the CARICOM Charter of Civil Society 1997, and the Declaration of Pétionville, Haiti, 2013. In so doing, my government will undertake to create a more inclusive and enabling environment for persons with disabilities, consistent with the United Nations Sustainable development goals, modernizing the public service. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, as our country seeks to build resilience, my government has established a digital government integrated e-services platform, DigGov, in order to enhance the delivery of timely, efficient, and transparent government to citizens and government to business services. This digital transformation project, when fully operational, will facilitate the provision of 154 services across 8 ministries via a single window platform. Through this initiative, citizens, businesses, investors, and other government agencies can apply and make payments online for services such as renewal of driver's license, passport and national ID, as well as application for birth certificates, registration of business, and import licenses, to name a few. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, the physical distancing protocols and related restrictions in business operations imposed as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic provide compelling added impetus to move forward even more aggressively with the DigGov initiative during the coming financial year. To this end, my government will determine the commencement date for the Electronic Transactions Act in order to ensure there is legislation to support the government digital platform. Meanwhile, a new electronic transactions bill will be considered to reflect technological changes that have occurred since 2011, when the original legislation was prepared. The Data Protection Act will also be commenced. Additionally, the Electronic Data Interchange Act will support information exchange and the integration of functions of key public service agencies such as the National Insurance Corporation, Inland Revenue Department, Registry of Businesses, and Civil Status Registry. Resilient infrastructure. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, my government has set itself the goal of providing accessible, secure, quality infrastructure which is resilient to climate change. National infrastructure must be so designed as to support St. Lucia's economic development thrust by facilitating access to new lands for commercial, residential, and touristic development, and ensuring there is sufficient capacity for future expansion. Significant emphasis will be placed on upgrading and expanding targeted sections of the road network, including, where feasible, the construction of alternative routes. The rehabilitation of feeder and agricultural roads will continue, as will the maintenance of bridges and culverts and the desilting of rivers, ravines and drains island-wide. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, my government will make every endeavor to improve the strength and general condition of the island's roads, maintain and improve the safety of road users, minimize maintenance costs to commuters and farmers, and reduce commuting time. Further, our people will benefit from the stimulation of the construction sector, increased opportunities for small contractors, the reduction in the unemployment, and the decrease in St. Lucia's foreign exchange deficit. International relations. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, over the past few months, as the world has confronted COVID-19. Many countries have responded by closing their borders, and some by adopting selfish, insular positions. For our Caribbean, it has been a time when our resolve as a community has been tested, and our countries have risen to the challenge. CARICOM has benefited tremendously from the work of our regional institutions. The Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, is to be especially commended for its leadership role and for so ably supporting our national health services. The CARICOM Secretariat had been crucial in coordinating the response of regional security, disaster management, health and education agencies, among others. At the sub-regional level, the OECS Commission has similarly assisted with resource mobilization, joint procurement, and coordinating member states' international interface. As is the case in other spheres, however, work proceeds on parallel tracks. In order to promote the CARICOM and OECS integration agendas, my government will ratify outstanding treaties and enact legislation to give effect to those treaties and other obligations relating to such matters as security, justice, education, air services, disaster emergency management, and the free movement of people and goods. In the wider international context, our national agencies continue to engage European Union partners to bring closure to the vexing issue of blacklisting. Conclusion. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, when I first addressed the Senate and the House on the 20th March 2018, I reverently opined that our first duty when assembled was to show our obeisance to Him who made us, to know Him, love Him, and serve Him. That love to be shown equally by our love for one another. And in my second address on the 9th April 2019, I prayerfully, as it were, urge those of us lost in ourselves that for St. Lucia to be truly great, each and all of us should show a little kindness to those fallen by the wayside. Since January, we have been witnesses to a stillness that is portentous, as everyone leans forward in prayer to the Almighty God to intermit this plague, which apparently His wrath has brought upon an unkind and cold world. Never before have we seen such stillness. Even leaves seem not to stir in the wind. But we must never forget that God helps those who help themselves, and therefore, to save lives, we must observe all instructions given by the authorities. Let us see this coronavirus as a lesson. Create from it a pathway of hope and advance together, one nation, buoyed by our love of country, and our steadfast faith in God's enduring protection and mercy. Thank you.
Message là qui a sorti gouverneur général et puis en chaque information qui a sorti là et puis nous avons nous ni en chaque pour nous veiller pour ou quand ils savent les venir pour budget en chaque ça qui a sorti dans c'est qui plan gouvernement mais pour ça gouvernement ni pour lui-même à présent adresser et ça nous avons créé vermine corona pour raison ça plein trouver quoi en manière yoni pour balancer qu'à traiter vermine et puis et pas ça tout seul gouvernement trouver quoi en position côté les vini pour adresser problème pays et adresser corona à même l'air pas ça seulement nous avons en chaque bagage a changé et puis qu'on nous dissecter Jesse et qu'on nous entrons dans une chaque information ben moi quoi la nion des bagages qui doubout la nion des bagages nous ça ouais vraiment qui direction gouvernement veut prendre.
Absolutely. The throne speech you just delivered by His Excellency the Governor General Sir Emmanuel Neville Cenac witnessed in Parliament by a joint sitting of the upper and lower house, the House of Representatives and the Senate. It really orbited the coronavirus management in St. Lucia and understandably so. Coronavirus has far-reaching effects and we have seen so far what it has prompted. We have seen so far what it has prompted and how it has pushed us forward in effecting certain decisions from the executive level going down. And just to go over quickly some of the statements made by the Governor General, His Excellency Sir Emmanuel Neville Cenac. He spoke on health, simultaneously promoting other initiatives to develop the health sector while dealing with COVID-19. So that is the assurance we're getting from the Governor General. He also stated it's still in health that government will enact legislation to define and effect the governance structure for national health insurance, as well as improving health facilities and laboratory capacity and strengthening public health surveillance and emergency management capabilities. The Governor General did touch on promoting agriculture and food security, among that stating that his government intends to continue to emphasize the areas of tourism together with the resuscitation of the banana industry and building resilience to climate change and disaster risk reduction. There was also mention of a revision of the Plant Protection Act to prevent and control the entry of pests into St. Lucia. With regard to tourism, of course, it was acknowledged that the effect and the impact that has been had by the coronavirus pandemic globally on our local tourism sector. The Governor General did state that in the coming year, legislation will be enacted to provide for a state-owned company to administer village tourism in St. Lucia and to govern the St. Lucia Tourism Council, and stating that this entity will spearhead areas such as advocacy, policy identification. There was also mention of the Tourism Incentives Act to be revised as well. Quite a few statements there. Also important to note the enhancement of security and justice on island. We saw that he stated that there will be the enactment of the criminal investigation deoxyribonucleic acid DNA bill, and that will provide for DNA analysis and testing in the investigation and prosecution of offences in St. Lucia. Further to that, he also stated that the St. Lucia Border Control Agency will be created in St. Lucia, comprising Customs and Excise, Immigration, the Police Marine Unit, and the quarantine functions. He stated that the St. Lucia Border Control Agency Act will establish the agency and set out related governance arrangements. There were also discussions, he also stated that there are plans to modernize the public service, and we're seeing that even more important. He did acknowledge that there was more impetus to move forward with the modernization of the public service with coronavirus looking us dead in the face. The digital transformation project, he said, when fully operational, will facilitate the provision of 154 public services on island across 8 ministries via a single window platform. And I can imagine the benefits and the convenience this will be when we look at the renewal of driver's licenses, cards and passport and national ID services, application for birth certificates and so on. All of these things will be available via a single window platform. So these are quite a few important plans that have been outlined in the throne speech.
Et puis, oui, Jesse, comme vous bien savez, messieurs, dames, nous ici, nous en étant commission qui a sorti le gouverneur général, il a adressé le Parlement ici, vous savez, as a résultat, il va en chaïbagaï changer. Quand nous avons bien parlé, discuter ici, un bagage qui a la coutume, les venus pour adresse par n'importe membre, n'importe monde qui a adressé public, citoyen Saint-Lucie, c'est monde qui a pris temps pour dire merci, c'est monde qui a combattu, c'est monde oui qui a fait bagage fait. Qu'on nous couille c'est travailler Inch'Allah quand gouverneur général lui-même suivre même protocole ça. Et puis il prend temps pour oui merci c'est moun ça moi qu'a parler dit ces police là il parlait dit ces gens hôtel là il parlait dit ces gens supermarket là gas station Nimo en parmi l'autre quoi au cas bien vraiment il commence à venir en bagage comme la coutume depuis moun commence premier côté au cas aller c'est pour oui merci c'est moun ça parce que au cas mettre la vie oui devant en wis pour faire assurer yo combattre ça ca l'air en parmi bagage qui doubout là il pour annoncement fait là ici à Jordia nous dans chaque information mais en parmi yo ou kay bien savent le gouverneur général a commencé puis ça nous t'ai qu'on la coutume qui c'est hurricane disaster avec manière il a affecté ces petits pays en Caraïbes là spécialement il fait l'homme en Oma et puis il fait l'homme en Maria avec manière l'autre pays avec manière nous tenir pour recouvrir mais en même voie ou kay savent à présent nous ca combattre envers midi yon ou pas même ouais gamanier il a fait compter changement en la terre pour prendre ça en considération premier bagaille qui était proposé là c'est les vini pour affaires touristes ça yo couillé village tourism qui veut dire yo kay commencer mener affaires touristes là business touristes là ces villages là yon moi quoi qui c'est un bon bagaille tout bonnement en Jersey et puis parmi l'autre bagaille yo kay ni un monde qui kay gouverner qui c'est consiste touriste Saint-Lucie les vini pour éducation yon a ces points qui fait qui était bien important, yo pas voulu quitter pièce son derrière, yo kay mettre bagay en place pour monde qui infime, c'est infimité kay hen where that qui yo mettre bagay en place pour adresser yo. Là vini pour justice, sécurité, nous t'en parler di caméra one pays expressement en cité nous parler de ça et nous t'en la blanc avec DNA avec un bill gouvernement voulait présenter et un bill là vini pour DNA pour date qui et ça avancé aussi pour bon nous là vini pour custom là vini pour police qui travaillent ensemble agriculture nous avons parlé là venu pour agriculture nous avons parlé de mener industrie fig lanvier avec qui manière gouvernement qui ça fait contribution parce que manger qui vient en dedans ça quand les plus devant en tout il y en a ces bagages lancés moderniser manière nous faire business en simplicité quand nous avons parole de mettre en chaque département gouvernement en Bayonne en tout nous veillons 154 service parmi eux ou qu'ils savent les venir pour birth certificate ou les venir pour ces documents ça quand Jesse temps pas permettre nous mais nous en chaque développement en chaque bagage venir en portrait à présent avec un annoncement qui fait aujourd'hui les venir pour plan gouvernement là quand nous quoi nous quand parler sur pli avec nous quand raison qu'on débat qu'à continuer.
Certainly, we will be getting more information with regard to the pronouncements of the Governor General and in his throne speech by the Honorable Prime Minister and the ministers as they deliver their addresses for the allotment, the allocations for their various portfolios. Thank you so very much for watching this broadcast. That's all the time that we have for now. You've just witnessed the delivery of the throne speech, the much anticipated throne speech from His Excellency the Governor General Sir Emmanuel Neville Cenac. And this morning we did have for the opening of the 5th session of the 11th Parliament, the members of the House of Assembly, the House of Representatives meeting and adjourning, as well as the upper house as well, the Senate meeting and adjourning as well to meet in joint session to receive this very important message from the Governor General. Please note that the Standing Finance Committee will be meeting in a closed session this afternoon at 2 p.m. To review the estimates of revenue and expenditure. We invite you to tune in tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. where the Prime Minister and Minister for Finance will be delivering the estimates of expenditure tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. That will kick off the debate on the estimates of expenditure 2020-2021, and the report of the meeting of the Standing Finance Committee will also be presented tomorrow morning. The following motion that is down for consideration for tomorrow's sitting of the House of Assembly, be it resolved that the House of Assembly do adopt the report of the Standing Finance Committee on the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2020-2021 in the sum of $1,697,312,800 as a charge against the Consolidated Fund and other funds of St. Lucia. Be reminded that no members of the public will be allowed into the chamber, the gallery chamber. So we do encourage you and invite you to join in on the live broadcast of the parliamentary sittings to come in the next few days. We would like to thank all of our media partners, the television stations, Choice TV, HTS, DBS, Hot 7 FM, and all the other radio stations, WVent as well. We'd like to thank all of them for just bringing this information on their platforms as well. Do stay tuned for more NTN programming. My name is Jessie Leonce, and on behalf of my colleague and the rest of the production team here at NTN, we sign out for now.